Hey everyone, what is going on? My name's Alive, and in today's Payday 2 video, we've got some things to talk about with regards to the future of Payday 2 on consoles. I talked about this in the most recent video. We're talking about what's happened in the new Payday 2 console update. If you haven't checked that out, link in the description and top right corner of the screen now. But I did say in that video I was going to do a separate video talking about everything that's going to happen with Payday 2 on consoles going forward, or should I say everything that's not going to happen. There's not the best news to talk about here, but that's why I didn't put it in the last video. I wanted to have a positive tone for this one and a more kind of mixed reserved tone for this one, because there's some good things and some bad things to talk about here, so I just want to get into it and start talking about everything that's going on. So without any further ado, welcome back to the channel, and let's talk about the future of Payday 2 on consoles. So all this information is now stemming from a post on Overkill's website by the CEO, Mikhail Nermark. He's posted something called Winds of Change Consoles Edition. Winds of Change was a post he made when they released a new update on PC with Border Crossing, etc. So now he's turned his attention to consoles and talked about what's going to happen going forward for our platforms. He opens by saying, "Hey Heisters, I'm back for another update. But first of all, I'd like to kick off by saying a big and heartfelt thank you on behalf of the crew and myself. Since we posted the first Winds of Change update, we've been closely monitoring, listening to, and discussing your feedback. We feel overwhelmed by your understanding and at the same time accept and acknowledge some of the hesitation you've expressed. We'd like to reiterate that the changes we made were not an easy decision, but we hope we can continue delivering exciting and fun experiences for you that feels like time well spent in Payday 2. Many of our console players have been asking for updates. We've asked you to have patience with us, and here's finally an update for you." He starts off the post with a TLDR, or too long didn't read, basically summing up everything that's going to happen, so I will read that to basically give you an idea of what's coming. First off, he says, "Update 1.5 for Xbox One and PS4 is now live." It will be at this point by the time this video goes up. Should be live on both platforms, not a problem there. He then says, "PC and consoles will unfortunately have disparity going forward, and we would like to set the proper expectations at this time, so should we find the opportunity to revisit and solve the disparity in the future, we will do so." That means what it sounds like it does. It basically means that consoles are never going to fully catch up to PC. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's read through the post and talk about what's going on here, because it makes more sense to read through it before I pass my opinions and have some kind of discussion going. So he starts off with a preface by saying, "I know we haven't delivered on consoles as we should have, or even promised at one point. Where we are right now, I know that we still can't. I want to change that for the future, but in all honesty, we won't be able to do that for Payday 2. We are, however, making the changes needed so we can do it right for the next one from the get-go. Consoles has always been something of an Achilles heel in our production pipeline, and while we've made several efforts through the years to strengthen the team and effectivizing the PC production to better align to consoles, it hasn't been enough. As of April 2019, the Payday 2 Crime of Edition with its DLCs is almost caught up to PC, but not quite." First off, I want to pause here and just talk about two things. First paragraph saying they're going to get it right for the next one from the get-go, meaning they're going to try and make sure that when Payday 3 comes out, consoles are always up to speed with PC. That's something that shouldn't even need saying. It should go without saying. And for everything that's happened on console now, if it wasn't up to speed with PC right from the get-go on Payday 3, I would not blame console players for just ditching the game completely, because it's just not something that can carry on. It really isn't. He then says about them making efforts to try and align PC to consoles. I'm guessing this was that system in inverted commas. It was mentioned on a Starbreeze livestream about 2 years ago that they were working on a system, again, inverted commas. I still don't know what it meant, but they were working on a system that basically meant the console updates would be able to come out faster and contain more content. I still have no idea what that meant, and there's been no proof that that system even exists, to be honest with you, so I don't know what that was about, but I'm guessing that's what they're saying. They were trying to better align PC to consoles, but it just didn't work, and so they're looking now at the feasibility of more console updates. But let's keep reading. "We've had to look at the future console updates from our situation as it looks today, with the limitations that we have, rather than looking back at what has been said and done before and make choices accordingly, even though they might not be what we wish them to. We simply have too many constraints and available manpower to be able to fix the situation in short term. We see this as an opportunity to at least be as forthcoming as we can regarding the roadmap ahead. To be clear as can be, we will out of necessity at this time have to accept disparity between the PC and console versions of Payday 2 going forward." So talking about a lack of ability to actually keep making console updates here, first off, they have less staff. Remember that a lot of staff were let go or have left of their own accord in the whole process of Starbreeze being in reconstruction, so they do have less staff working. I don't know how many people left or fired were part of the console team. I can't comment on that. It might not be many, it might be a lot, I really don't know. But they have less manpower overall, so even if a lot of people who left were on the PC team, that may mean some console people had to get reassigned to compensate for that. I really don't know. Point being, they don't have the staff, and maybe they don't even have the money to do it. They are just managing to pull out of reconstruction and still be afloat somehow, so they have to rebalance their finances, I guess. I'm just trying to look at it from a logical standpoint. I will pass my opinions later, though. So now he hones in on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions by saying, "We've previously mentioned that we would like to attempt to achieve parity for PC and consoles. At this time, however, it will not be possible. We will release console update 1.5, he means released, it must have been bad wording on the article, for free, which has now hit a console near you. I'll rephrase it to suit. and has brought the console version of the game slightly closer to the current Legacy Collection on PC. Some of the remaining heists, together with the safe house feature, unfortunately have too high requirements in terms of optimization to be viable to port at this time. The primary heists and features most likely to be excluded from consoles are as follows: the Shacklethorn auction heist, the Reservoir Dogs heist, the Hell's Island heist, the No Mercy heist, the White House heist, and the safe house feature. The above mentioned campaigns all had masks, weapons, or mods attached to them. We are currently still investigating if we can release those separately. Some additional content has licensing and collaboration restrictions attached to them, which will unfortunately make them challenging to release. I'm guessing by there he means GoBank at the very least. That's one that's eluded us for a long time, and because of the whole CSGO link to Valve and Gabe and all that stuff, I'm guessing that's why that's never come over to console, and that may be one of the things they're talking about here. For you story buffs out there, we are aware this will make the final secret storyline unavailable to you at this time, which it is highly unfortunate. Without making any promises, we will keep this in mind for the future, should we have the opportunity to revisit this content. I'm going to just pause here for a second and talk about this section of the article. So he's basically saying that a lot of the content we're expecting to come is basically not going to, or is very unlikely to. They're wording it as though it's very unlikely, but if we're being honest, it probably isn't going to happen. I'm just going to say it right now, so we have to be honest and serious going forward. They don't mention breaking feds here. That may just be an error and they've missed it out by accident, but maybe that means we'll get at least one more heist going forward that's guaranteed to be ported. The rest is very much up in the air, I don't know. What worries me the most is them saying about that we'll keep in mind for the future as to whether or not the secret will make it onto consoles. Now, I'm not going to be too demanding here, but I'm going to make myself quite clear. If they abandon consoles and don't give us the ending, that is bad form. And it is very, very bad form. If they have to cut out everything else, that's fine. But the White House heist, in my opinion, has to be a priority. That heist needs to be over, and we need to have the secret. As far as I'm concerned, get rid of all the ways to unlock the secret. Have it so you can play the White House heist, and when you finish it, on whatever difficulty, allow people to start it up as the secret edition. It could come up on screen and say, you've completed the White House in the bad ending. You now have the chance to do it in the good ending and beat the Payday 2 secret. And just let us do it that way. It may not be as well earned, but at least we can play it and experience it. Having the White House heist as a highly unlikely heist to be ported over is very concerning, and I really hope they do fix that. I know they've said that they'll keep it in mind for the future, but usually things like that aren't too promising. So, Overkill, if you are watching this, make that your priority. But if you're going to abandon consoles, if you're not going to do any more updates soon, make sure the White House is out before you even consider dropping it, because then at least you'll have some kind of ending to Payday 2 on consoles, rather than just leaving it completely up in the air and never even starting the last year of story where Bane got kidnapped. Because right now, Brooklyn Bank dropped where Locke is suddenly talking us through a heist, and no one has any idea why Locke is talking us through it if they haven't played on PC or haven't been following the story. They don't know about the whole situation with Reservoir Dogs heist, because that happened before Brooklyn Bank, and yet Brooklyn Bank's already out. It's a big mess, and there needs to be some kind of link to explain it to people and give them a really solid ending, even if it's not the ideal ending that we want that was visible on PC. He then briefly touches on the most recent PC update with Border Crossing, etc. by saying, will the Silk Road campaign see the light of day on consoles? The most straight up answer we can give is we're looking into it and cannot at this time provide a solid answer nor a timeline. When we know more, we will communicate accordingly. So I can't really comment on that. We'll just have to wait to see whether any of that comes over. But if the rest of it isn't being ported, I can't see Border Crossing being ported. Maybe the suits might do at some point, but I don't know. And then we get the clarification that I've sadly been waiting for quite a long time. I've said it on loads of comment replies, etc. when people have asked me, but now we have confirmation the Nintendo Switch version of Payday 2 is officially dead. We're very sad to announce that Payday 2 for the Nintendo Switch will unlikely be able to see further updates, despite what our initial ambitions were on the contrary. As per above, we've been forced to make many hard decisions along the road, and this is yet another. To put the Switch version separately into context, the transfer of the game over to the Switch platform was not done in-house and would require significant further investments to happen. We're very aware this was undesired news, but we'd rather be clear to set the expectations now. Let me say one thing very clearly at this point. I don't think this is Overkill's fault, and I'm going to say this right now because I don't have any solid proof on this. I really don't, so I could be wrong, but the way I see it, the Nintendo Switch version was made when Bo Anderson Clint was still CEO of Starbreeze, and if you don't know the situation with Bo Anderson Clint and everything he did at Starbreeze, a lot of the bad investments and a lot of the reasons that Starbreeze went under to start with was because of him. It was him that pushed VR out for Starbreeze when they didn't need to do it and it was too much of an investment for the company. He was the one who pushed that out and ended up with them losing millions and millions of dollars. It was also him who was pushed and really hard about Overkill's The Walking Dead, about them fixing deadlines, all this stuff. He was the main person, or one of the main people, who pushed that and ended up being responsible for Overkill's The Walking Dead being an absolute dumpster fire. He's also the one who was fired from his position when the company went into reconstruction and sent a disgusting email to his former employees by saying basically, it's all of your fault for not working hard enough because I was the one working 24/7 for weeks and you should have been doing that too. Bo is not a very nice person from everything we've heard, and honestly, I reckon that it was probably his idea, just like VR, to put Payday 2 out on Nintendo Switch as a cash grab and then leave it and never touch it again. I don't have proof of that. I could be wrong, but I personally think it's on him. And if it is on him, you cannot blame Overkill for this one. It shouldn't have released to start with. It really shouldn't. But please do not hate on Overkill for the Switch version, because I genuinely, in my opinion, without proof, I know, but in my opinion, it makes logical sense to say, you know what, he probably was responsible for that, and it's probably just a cash grab that we would abandon afterwards. I really do think that's the case. So for everyone who's playing on Switch and waiting for an update, I kind of said this already. I didn't think one was going to happen. I'm really sorry to you guys, but that's as far as I can go with it. I really don't know what else to say. I know at one point Goris said there was a separate team for Switch, but honestly, I'm pretty sure he was just told to say that, so they were trying to hold off and see whether they actually could pull something off for Switch in the meantime. I kind of thought, well, if there is a development team, why haven't we heard from them? So this gives us the confirmation that we've been looking for a while, or at least that I've been looking for. Maybe not the one we wanted, but he then concludes this post by saying, if you've made it this far, you might be present to the fact that we have chosen to word several things above us highly unlikely, very challenging, or similar. To reiterate, this is by design to give everyone the proper set of expectations, to be as clear as we can be in our communication going forward without future promises or timelines. We are, however, very unwilling to close the door completely on some of these issues, and will keep our previous promises in mind as we continue working to secure our business. Should we find the opportunity to revisit these challenges, we will do so. Thank you for your support and for sticking by us, Mikhail, CEO of Starbreeze and Overkill. So honestly, I don't even know where to begin with this. Basically, the gist of it is there's a very high chance that there will not be any more Payday 2 console updates on Xbox One and PS4. It hurts me to even say that because there's so many implications, not only for Overkill, but for myself and for all of you guys. It's not something I ever wanted to do a video on, but here we are, and here I am having to talk about it. The key thing to focus on here is they have said that when they make Payday 3, this isn't going to happen again. So whatever happens going forward, when Payday 3 comes out, they're going to make sure that the updates come out on console at the same time as PC. An idea might be for them to develop the stuff for console first and then port it to PC. I don't know how that would work logistically for them, but if they could, that would make more sense, because that way everything would always be ready for console first, and then PC would be able to be developed afterwards, and everything could be released at the same time. But for those of you like me who think, well, Payday 3 is years off, what about Payday 2? I don't know what to say to you. I really don't. You all know by this point, I've been a console YouTuber for Payday 2 for 2 years now, or just over. I know I play on PC now. I know I do content on both platforms. And I know a lot of you are saying he's going to abandon consoles for PC. That has never been my plan. It's never going to be my plan. The only time I will stop doing console content now is if the console version officially dies. If months pass and nothing happens and there's nothing to talk about, there's not really a lot I can do in terms of console content. I mean, what can I do? I'm not going to close the door on it myself, because I'll probably find other ways to do it. You know, playing sub games with you on Xbox One, maybe even PS4 if I get one at some point. I do want to keep the console side of this channel up, but in terms of news, I can't report news that doesn't happen anymore. And if there isn't going to be any more updates, then I don't know what to do. And it really, really does upset me. Like, I could get upset over this right now while I'm recording it, but there's no point. We've been dealt the hand we've got, and we've got to roll with it. So the thing to focus on now is they have said it's highly unlikely these things will come onto console. They haven't ruled it out completely or shut the door completely, and there is still a chance some things may come over. But I'm not a fool. I also know that wording things like this is just probably an attempt to keep optimism up. You know, so it could just be they're saying this just to make sure people don't go, wow, you've officially confirmed that the console version is dead. Wow, thanks for that, Overkill, F you, all that kind of thing. They could just be doing it to save face. It may be they have no intention now to finish off Payday 2 on console. If that is the case, then you guys know I've been as optimistic as I can for the last 2 years. I can't defend that. I just can't. I know from a business standpoint that they have to be able to, you know, balance their finances out and get things out when they can, but they're doing it again. They're leaving consoles behind again, and once you can let go, twice it becomes harder. It really, really does. The one thing I would take as a compromise, as I've said earlier in the video, is they need to get the White House on there. If nothing else is ported over ever again, just get the White House on there and be able to let us play the secret. Even if, like I said, just let us play through the White House, let us finish it, and then offer us the secret as a separate contract. So you could go into lock in the crime net and say, do you want to play the White House, or do you want to play the White House secret in brackets or something, you know? Give us the option to do that, and that'll do me. I mean, I'm not happy about all this stuff being excluded, but if we can actually end the story on console, that's a good compromise. So please don't overlook that. Don't just ditch consoles now. Don't just say we really can't think about it now. We've got not enough staff to think about it, not enough funding to think about it. Look into the White House. Give us one last update if you have to. If it has to be the last one, give us one last update with the White House, with anything else you can shove in there. Weapon packs. I mean, what happened to the World War II weapon pack? Where did that go? That was supposed to happen ages ago, and it never appeared. There are loads of guns, etc., that could easily be ported, as far as I'm concerned, that you could easily also do. Masks, all that stuff. I know you said you're looking into it, but those are the kind of things that should hopefully be easier to port than heists themselves. So please, please, Overkill. I know you're saying things are looking unlikely now, but don't ditch us. Please don't ditch us until you've tried the best you can with these even smaller things. I know you're trying right now, but but try it as hard as you can and don't just give up now, because otherwise consoles are just going to completely abandon Payday 2. When Payday 3 comes around, I know they're going to try and treat consoles better, and that's fine, but that's a situation to look at miles away. Payday 3 isn't releasing for at least another 3 years, so we really cannot think, okay, well, Payday 3 will be fine. It's too far away right now. We have to focus on Payday 2, and from where I'm concerned, we need to see more content. If it's just the ending, fine, but do not end it here. If this is the last update for Payday 2 on consoles, then, I mean, what can I say? You're not ending with a bang, you're ending with a whimper. It really is a whimper. Crime Spree is great, but we need the story to end, and you need to make sure that we get that. I have to be honest, I have to be blunt, because in this case, I can't just be optimistic and say I'm hopeful for the future, because right now, it's up in the air. I'm not pessimistic, I'm not saying console is dead, but I'm saying we all need to be very, very careful now and be cautious, because it is possible we may never see another update. What does that mean for the channel? I mean, look, it's a Payday 2 channel, that ain't going to change, and when Payday 3 comes out, I'll move on to Payday 3, of course I will. PC content will not change, that's going to be the same, but console will always take a priority. I've said this before. Just because console may get less content or no content going forward doesn't mean that if something happens, I won't report it, because I will. Anything to do with consoles, I will keep reporting it. Please do not think I've given up, because I never ever will. Okay? I never will, even if hope looks a little bit bleaker or things seem lost. So that's as much as I can say. I'm going to leave it there for now, because I really don't know where else to go with this. I just thought I'd make the video and talk about it. So until then, thank you all for watching. I know it's not the most positive video to watch, but I do appreciate you all checking it out anyway. If you have enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up to support me. I really do appreciate it. And subscribe if you're interested in more Payday 2 videos going forward. This is one I really want to know your opinions on down in the comment section below. What do you think about the Switch version being abandoned? What do you think about the future of Xbox One and PS4? Do you think we'll get another update? If you do, what do you think we'll get? Do you think that they'll have some kind of final update to end things off, like I've said with the White House maybe? Let me know about everything possible in the comment section below, and I'll talk with you all in the responses after that. And finally, as I always say, if you do want to support me over on Patreon, top right corner of the screen and in the description, you can click a link and go support me even more than you already are if you want to. Donations are never expected, but always appreciated, and always support me and the channel. But until then, thank you all for watching. I really do appreciate you all, and I will see you all very soon with another Payday 2 video or live stream. Until then, take care, look after yourselves, and I'll see you all soon.